Hello and welcome back to another lecture. Did you know that you can manually create any resource in the AWS Management Console and Terraform will write the code to create that resource for you? The command is called Terraform import, and in this lecture, I'll show you how to use the Terraform import command to write the code for an existing EC2 instance and import it into Terraform. You can use this method to create any resource in AWS using Terraform if you don't know where to start or what you need. First, you manually create the resource in the management console. Then you will use the Terraform import command to write the code and import that resource into Terraform. To show you how the Terraform import command works, remember we said the first step is to manually create that resource in the management console. In the management console, type EC2 in the search box and select EC2 under Services. On the EC2 dashboard, we will launch the EC2 instance. Select Launch Instance and select Launch Instance again. On this page, first I'm going to give the EC2 instance a name. I'll call it Test EC2. So any information you enter here doesn't really matter. All we want to do here is create an EC2 instance, and we will use the Terraform import command to write the Terraform code for this EC2 instance and import it into Terraform. For the name, I'll give it a name. Scroll down. Under Application and OS Images, select the Quick Start tab, and on the Quick Start tab, select Amazon Linux. It is going to be Amazon Linux 2 AMI, and it is the free tier one. Scroll down. Under Instance Type, it is going to be T2 Micro, and it is the free tier. Scroll down. Under Key Pair, select this drop down and select your key pair. If you have a key pair in your AWS account, you can select it, and if you don't have a key pair, it is fine. Remember, we are just creating an EC2 instance and we are using the Terraform import command. So anything you enter here don't really matter. If you also want to create a new key pair, you can click this link to create a new key pair. Scroll down. Under Network Settings, click Edit. We will launch this EC2 instance in our default VPC. If you see here, it is the default VPC. For subnet preference, I'll select this drop down and I'm going to put it in the US East 1A. It does not matter which subnet you launch your EC2 instance in, just select any subnet. Under Security Groups, we will create a new security group. And here, I'm just going to change the name of the security group. I'll call it Test Security Group. And I will use the same name for the description. For the security group itself, we will leave it on SSH port 22 and scroll down. This is all we need to do to launch the EC2 instance. And here you can see the instance summary. We are using an Amazon Linux 2 AMI. The instance type is T2 Micro, and we create a new security group. Next, select Launch Instance. There you go, we have successfully launched the EC2 instance. Click View Instances. This is the EC2 instance I just launched and the instance state is pending. I'm going to click Refresh here. The next thing we will do is use the Terraform import command to write the Terraform code for this EC2 instance and import it into Terraform. To import this EC2 instance into Terraform, the first thing I want you to do is create a folder on your computer. I'm going to minimize here. And on my desktop, I'm going to create a folder for the Terraform project here. I'll right click here to create a new folder. I'll give the folder a name. I'll call it Terraform Import. Once you've created the folder, the next thing I want you to do is open Visual Studio Code. Once you've opened Visual Studio Code, next we will open the folder we just created. To do that, select File and select Open Folder. Next, browse to the location where you saved the project folder. My project folder is on my desktop. I'll select Desktop. And I call the folder Terraform Import. I'll select the folder. Make sure you select the folder and don't click to go into the folder. Just select the folder and click Select Folder. Once you have opened your project folder in Visual Studio Code, you'll see the name of that folder here. The next thing we will do is create a Terraform file in this folder. To create the file, I'm going to right click and select new file. I'll give the file a name. The resource we want to use this file to create is an EC2 instance. So I'll call this file ec2.tf. The name you choose for your file does not really matter. Just make sure when you enter the name of your file, enter .tf at the end. Once you enter the name of your file, press enter. This is the file we will use to import the EC2 instance we created in the management console into Terraform. Before you can import the EC2 instance into Terraform, first you have to authenticate with your AWS account. And remember, to authenticate with your AWS account, you need the providers block. And you will start by typing provider. Once you start to type provider, you will see the provider block here. Select it, and that will auto-complete it for you. The next thing we will do is give the provider a name here. The provider we want to authenticate to is AWS. Type AWS in here. Then come down here. The first argument we will enter is the region, and this is the region we want to use. Here we'll type region. Once you type region, add space and an equal sign, and space again, then enter the name of the region. In this lecture, I am using US East 1, so I'll type US East 1 here. Once you type your region, press enter. The next argument we will enter is profile, and profile is the named profile that I've configured on my computer that contains the access key ID and secret access key that I will use to authenticate with my AWS account. If you don't know how to configure a named profile on your computer, I've already created a tutorial on how to do that, and I'll leave the link in this video's description. For the second argument, type profile. Once you type profile, add space, equal sign, and space again. Then you will enter the name of the profile you configured on your computer. The named profile that I configured on my computer, I called it Terraform user. So I type Terraform user in here. This is the syntax we need to authenticate with our AWS account. The next thing you can do is save your file. I'll select file and select save all. Once you have write the syntax to authenticate with your AWS account, the next thing we will do is write the syntax to import the EC2 instance into Terraform. To import the EC2 instance into Terraform, first let's go to the Terraform documentation. I'm going to open Google. And in Google, I'll type Terraform AWS create EC2 instance. Once you type Terraform AWS create EC2 instance, press enter. Under your search results, look for the one that has AWS_instance. Select that one. And it is going to bring you to the Terraform documentation to create an EC2 instance. I will leave this link in this video's description. To import the EC2 instance into Terraform, in this documentation, the first thing we need is the basic syntax to create an EC2 instance. If I scroll down here, this is a basic syntax to create an EC2 instance. Here you can see the resource type, AWS instance, and the reference name. So what I want you to do is select everything, right click to copy it, then come back to Visual Studio Code and paste it into your Terraform file. In Visual Studio Code, press enter twice and paste it here. Once you've pasted it, the next thing you must do is delete everything between this yellow bracket. So I'll select everything between the yellow bracket and delete it. The reason why you have to delete everything between the yellow bracket is anytime you want to import a resource into Terraform, Terraform wants you to create an empty resource block. So this is our resource block, but we haven't specified the argument. This is the first thing you must do. You must have an empty resource block. So here I have my resource type, AWS_instance. This is the resource type to create an EC2 instance. And here is the reference name. For my reference name, I'm going to change it. I'm just going to remove this, and I'll call my reference name EC2 instance. Remember, for your reference name, you can give it any name you want. Once you've created your empty resource block, Let's go back to the Terraform documentation. In the Terraform documentation, for any resource you are trying to create, once you have found the documentation to create that resource, here we are creating an EC2 instance, and this is the documentation to create an EC2 instance. Once you have found the documentation to create that resource, what you want to do is scroll all the way down. At the bottom of the Terraform documentation to create any resource, you will find import there. And this is the command you can use to import that resource into Terraform. Here, this is the documentation to create an EC2 instance, and this is the Terraform import command to import an EC2 instance that already exists in our AWS account into Terraform. The next thing I want you to do is copy this command and paste it in a notepad, and I'm going to explain what the command means. I'm going to select this command. Don't select the $sign, just the command. Right click to copy it. I'm going to open a notepad on my computer. Once you've opened a notepad on your computer, paste the command in there. And I'll minimize the documentation for now. This is the command we will use to import the EC2 instance in the management console into Terraform. And what the command means is you have Terraform import, that is the command you will use, and AWS_instance, that is your resource type. Remember, Terraform provides the resource type to create any resource in AWS to you, and that don't change. So this AWS_instance, it is the same thing as what you are seeing here. Terraform provides this to you, and you can't change that. Next, we have a period here, and we have web. The web represents whatever reference name you've given your resource here. I call the reference name in my Terraform file EC2_instance. So I'm going to select this to copy it. And that is what I want to paste in here. So you can see it. It is Terraform import. This is the resource type dot the reference name. My reference name is EC2_instance, and that is what I enter here. The next thing we need to specify here is the ID of the EC2 instance we want to import. Remember, we created our EC2 instance in the management console, and that EC2 instance has an instance ID. What we will do is go into the management console, copy the instance ID, and paste it here. Let's go to the management console to copy the instance ID. In the management console, this is the EC2 instance I want to import into Terraform. I'll select it. Once you select the EC2 instance, under the Details tab, you will see the instance ID. Click this box to copy it. Once you copy it, come back to your notepad and paste it here. This is the command we need to import this EC2 instance into Terraform. The next thing you will do is select this command, copy it, then let's go back to Visual Studio Code. In Visual Studio Code, make sure you've saved your file. I'll select File and select Save All. Once you've saved your file, the next thing we will do is open the terminal. Right-click on the EC2 instance file and select Open in Integrated Terminal. Once you've opened the terminal, the first thing we will do is authenticate with AWS. To do that, we will type Terraform init. Once you type Terraform init, press enter. And there you go. It is now initializing and we are authenticating with our AWS account. There you go. Terraform has been successfully initialized. The next thing you will do is the command you created here in your notepad, we will paste it in here. I'll copy that command again. Then come here and paste it in there. Once you paste the command in your terminal, press enter. There you go. We have successfully imported the EC2 instance into Terraform. If you look here, it says import successful. Once you have imported the EC2 instance into Terraform, the next thing you must do is enter your argument. Even though you have imported the EC2 instance into your Terraform state, it is not going to work because you don't have any argument here. So the next thing you must do is specify your arguments. To specify your argument, this is the Terraform cheat code I'm talking about. Terraform will write the exact syntax for you, so you don't even have to write anything in here. Because even though you have imported the EC2 instance into your Terraform state file, you might still not know what argument you need to enter here. And Terraform makes it easy for you. This is what I call the Terraform cheat code. And next, I will show you how you can use Terraform to enter the arguments you need here. To use Terraform to show you the arguments you need here, the command you will type here is Terraform show. Type Terraform show. Once you type Terraform show, press enter. And there you go. So what I'm going to do now is drag this up. When you type Terraform show and press enter, this is what the syntax looks like. You can see here, let me drag this down a little bit so you can see it. You can see here, Terraform has created the resource block, which is equivalent to this. And in that resource block, it has listed all these arguments in here. So what Terraform will do is just list all the arguments of the EC2 instance. A lot of these arguments you won't need because they are default arguments. What you can do is you can start by copying all these arguments into your code. So what I will do is, starting at the first argument for the AMI, I'll go all the way down up to the timeout, copy everything, press Ctrl C to copy it. I'm just going to drag this down a little bit. Then come back to your Terraform file here. Make sure your cursor is in the beginning and paste it there. And there you go. This is how you enter the argument for the EC2 instance. Before we run it, there are some things we have to change. So I'm going to close the terminal for now. Remember what I said? When you type Terraform show, Terraform will just show you all the arguments that exist for the EC2 instance. But a lot of these arguments we don't need, and some of these arguments are decided after the EC2 instance is created. For example, the ARN of the EC2 instance, we get this after the EC2 instance is created, so we can delete this. For this argument, associate public IP address, we can delete that one too. These are all default arguments. Another argument we can delete here is the CPU core count up to the instance ID. Remember, we get the instance ID after we create the EC2 instance, so we can delete those arguments. The shutdown behavior, instance state, we can delete those too. So now you're just cleaning up your code. This is much easier than having to decide what you need. We need the instance type, the IPv6, we don't need that. We'll delete those. We need the key pair, the monitoring, that is a default value, we don't need it, we can delete it. Next, for the primary network interface ID, all the way to the secondary private IPs, we don't need those, so we can delete those ones. For the security groups argument, we need that one, we won't delete it. For the source destination check, that is a default argument, we can delete it. So in case if you don't know what you need to delete here, save your file and run Terraform plan. And if it fails, it will tell you that you need the argument. So that is how you can check which argument you need to delete if you don't know which argument you need to delete. The next argument is subnet ID, we need that. The next argument is tags, we need the tags. The next argument is tenancy. This argument is not really required. It is a default argument, so we can delete it. For the VPC security group ID, we are already using the security groups argument here. So instead of deleting this, let's comment it out for now. To comment it, select everything. Once you've selected everything, press Ctrl//, and that is going to comment it out. I'm not sure whether we need to delete this. So rather than deleting it, I'll comment it out for now. And when I run the Terraform plan, if I need it, I'm just going to remove the comment. For everything else here, from the capacity reservation specification, we're just going to remove all this. We don't need this. For the private DNS name options, we don't need that too. We'll remove it. And also the root block device, we don't need that. We'll remove those two. The timeout, we don't need the timeout, we'll remove that. So this is what our resource looks like now. You can see everything is small and we have the arguments we need. To clean up my code, I'm just going to remove the extra space. These are the arguments we need to import the EC2 instance into Terraform. So what I want you to do is save your file. I'll select File, select Save All. Once you save your file, let's open the terminal again and run Terraform plan. I'm going to right click on my EC2 instance here and select Open in Integrated Terminal. In my terminal, I'll type Terraform plan. Once you type Terraform plan, press Enter. There you go. When you type Terraform plan and press Enter, it says no changes. That is because our Terraform state file is up to date with what we have in the AWS Management Console. When you are using Terraform import, one thing I want you to keep in mind is Terraform import can only import one resource at a time. Remember, we created our EC2 instance and we also created a security group. So you cannot use one Terraform import for the EC2 instance to also import the security group. If you want to import the security group into your Terraform state file, you also have to follow the same process we used for the EC2 instance. So here we will do the same thing by importing the security group into our Terraform state file. To do that, I'm going to close the terminal for now. Then let's go back to the Terraform documentation. I'm going to open a new Google tab, and in Google, I'll type Terraform AWS create security group. Once you type Terraform AWS create security group, press Enter. And under your search results, it is usually the first one. If you see AWS_security group HashiCorp, that is what you need. Select it. Once you select it, it will bring you to the Terraform documentation to create a security group. Remember, the first thing you have to do is look for the syntax to create a security group. So we'll scroll down. Here, this is the basic syntax to create a security group. What we would do is we will just copy this here. You don't have to copy everything. So I'm just going to copy here, but we will remember to add the closing bracket. Select this to copy it. Then I'll go back to Visual Studio Code. In Visual Studio Code, press Enter here and paste it there. Once you paste it, it is showing an error here. So don't forget to enter the closing bracket. Next, remember to import any resource. You have to first create an empty resource block. So we'll remove everything between it. Also, if you want to change your reference name, you can change it. I'll call mine EC2 security group. I'll remove this and I'll call it EC2_SG. Once you've added your reference name, the next thing we will do is get the import command to import a security group into our Terraform state file. Let's go back to the Terraform documentation again. In the Terraform documentation, scroll all the way down. Remember, this is the Terraform documentation to create a security group. And this is the import command you can use to import a security group into Terraform. What I want you to do is select everything here to copy the command. Once you've copied the command, open your notepad. Here, I'm going to paste it down here, press Enter and paste it here. Once you've pasted the command, I'll minimize this. To explain this command, it is Terraform import. Next, you have the resource type. It is AWS_security group. This is the same as the resource type here. Terraform provides this to you and it doesn't change. And you have a period. And next, you have your reference name. So whatever reference name you entered here, that is what you need to enter here. Since I called my reference name EC2_SG, that is what I need to enter here. So I'll change that to EC2_SG. Next, we need to enter the ID of the security group. Remember, we created the security group when we were launching the EC2 instance. So let's go to the management console to get the ID of the security group. In the EC2 management console, I'm going to scroll down here and select security groups under network and security. Remember when we were creating the security group, we called it test SG. This is the security group. I'll select it. And under the details tab, if you scroll down, the security group ID is here. I'm going to click this box to copy it. Once you copy the security group ID, open your notepad again, and we are going to paste it here. This is the command we need to import this security group into our Terraform state file. I'll minimize this for now. Then copy this command. Once you copy this command, minimize this. Don't forget to save your file. So here we'll select file, select save all. Then once we've saved our file, we'll open the terminal again. I'll right click on the EC2 file and select open in integrated terminal. Here I'm going to paste the command there. It is Terraform import AWS_security group dot the reference name of my security group, which is EC2_SG, and the ID of the security group I want to import. Once you've entered your command, press enter. And there you go. We have successfully imported our security group into the Terraform state file. In order for this to work, you must enter your argument here. And if you don't know which argument to enter, Terraform can also do that for you. To use what I call the Terraform cheat code to specify the arguments you need to enter here, we'll type this command, and the command is Terraform show. Once you type Terraform show, press enter. I'm going to drag this up so you can see it. When I type Terraform show and press enter, here you can see the resource block to create the security group. It is resource AWS_security group, and the reference name is EC2_SG. This is the reference name I gave it. And in my bracket, all the arguments are listed here. So what you want to do is select here, copy all the arguments up to the timeout, press Ctrl C to copy it. Then once you've done that, let's close the terminal for now because we don't need it. We'll kill the terminal. And in our Terraform file, make sure your cursor is at the beginning and we'll paste it in there. Once you've pasted the argument in there, remember when you type Terraform show, Terraform is just going to give you all the arguments that exist for that security group. Some of those arguments you don't need. And here we don't need the ARN of the security group. We get the ARN after the security group has been created. So we will delete the ARN. Let's scroll down. Everything here we can leave as default, even though you can go back later on and clean up some of this. For time purpose, I will leave all this as default. Here, the security group ID, we don't need it because we get the security group ID after the security group has been created. So we'll delete this. Let's scroll down. We'll leave this as default. The name of the security group, we will leave that. The owner ID, we don't need that. We can delete it. And we can also delete the tags. These are empty. We'll delete it. We need the VPC ID, so we'll keep that there. And the timeout, we will delete that. We don't need it. This is all we need to do to import the security group into the Terraform state file. So here, let's save our file again. Once you've saved your file, let's open the terminal. I'll right click on the EC2 and select open in integrated terminal. I'm going to drag this down a bit. Next, we will run Terraform plan to see if our state file is up to date. When you type Terraform plan, press enter. And there you go. When you type Terraform plan and press enter, it says there is no changes. That is because our state file is up to date with our resources in our AWS account. The next thing we can do to test that everything is working properly is we can use Terraform to delete our EC2 instance that we manually created in the management console. Since we have imported the EC2 instance in the Terraform state file, we should be able to delete that EC2 instance with Terraform. So here, I'm going to type Terraform destroy. Once you type Terraform destroy, press enter. When we type Terraform destroy, Terraform is showing us the plan and it will destroy 2 resources. If you scroll up here, you'll see the resources. The first resource Terraform will destroy is the security group here, and the second one is the EC2 instance. I'm going to destroy these 2 resources, so I'll scroll back down and I'll type yes to destroy it and press enter. And there you go. Terraform is now terminating the EC2 instance and deleting the security group. I'll give it some time to finish destroying the resources. Terraform has finished deleting the resources. Let's go to the management console to check. In the management console, currently I am in the security group section. I'll click refresh here. And there you go, you can see the test security group is gone. Let's go to the EC2 dashboard. I'll scroll up, go to the EC2 dashboard. I'll select instances and I'll click refresh here. And there you go, you can see my test EC2 instance is terminated. There's one more thing we need to fix in our Terraform file before we end this lecture. Let's go back to our Terraform file. In your Terraform file, kill the terminal for now. Then I want you to go to the first resource where we created our security group. Previously, we were referencing our security group by the security group name, test security group. And since we have deleted that security group, the next time you try to apply this, it will give you an error saying it can't find the security group. So what we need to do is we need to reference this security group by our resource type and reference name. This is where we create the security group here. So what you need to do here is copy your resource type and the reference name. We'll copy it. And here we are just going to delete this. Paste that there. Remove the double quotes between them, add a period, come all the way to the end, add another period and type ID. This is all we need to do to reference this security group, because we are telling Terraform, when you create this security group, use the ID here when you are creating the EC2 instance. We have also confirmed that we don't need this syntax, so we can remove it completely. Another thing you can also do here is spend some time to clean up your code if everything don't look proper. For time purpose, I'm not going to do that in this lecture. Save your file. Once you have saved your file, let's open the terminal again, and we will use this syntax to create the EC2 instance and the security group. I'll open the terminal by right-clicking on my EC2 instance and select Open in Integrated Terminal. In the terminal, I'll type Terraform apply. Once you type Terraform apply, press enter. And there you go. When you type Terraform apply and press enter, Terraform is showing you that it will create 2 resources. If you scroll up here, you'll see those resources. The first resource is the EC2 instance, and the second resource is the security group. We'll scroll all the way down and type yes to create it. And there you go. Terraform is now creating the EC2 instance and the security group in my AWS account. I'll give it some time to finish creating it. There you go. After 42 seconds, Terraform has created the EC2 instance and the security group. Let's go to the management console to check. In the management console, I'm currently in the EC2 dashboard. I'll click refresh here. And there you go. You can see I have a new EC2 instance called test EC2. It is running and the status check is initializing. Let's go to the security group. I'll scroll down here. Under network and security, select security groups. And here you can see I have a new security group called Test Security Group. This is how you can use the Terraform import command, which I also call Terraform cheat code, to import any resource you manually created in the management console into Terraform. The next time you are trying to create a resource in Terraform and you don't know what to do or where to start by creating that resource in the management console. Then use the Terraform import command to import the resource into Terraform and clean up your argument. To end this lecture, let's terminate the EC2 instance and delete the security group. I'll go back to my Terraform file. In my Terraform file, I'll type Terraform destroy. After typing Terraform destroy, press enter. When you type Terraform destroy and press enter, first it will show you the plan. And here Terraform is showing us the plan that it would delete 2 resources. We know those 2 resources are the security group and the EC2 instance. So here I'll type yes to delete them and press enter. And there you go. Terraform is now deleting the EC2 instance and the security group. I'll give it some time to finish deleting it. There you go. Terraform has deleted the EC2 instance and the security group. If you have any questions on this lecture or there's any part you don't understand, please leave your comments below. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next lecture. Bye.